There's something no one tells you about emotional pain. It doesn't just hurt, it awakens. At first, it feels like your world is collapsing. You can't eat, you can't sleep. You replay the same memory over and over in your mind, trying to figure out what went wrong. But in that chaos, right in the center of that storm, there's something else. A silent force waiting to pull you into something deeper. That force is transformation. You see, most people spend their lives trying to avoid pain. We medicate it, suppress it, scroll past it, and drown it in distractions. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Emotional pain is not the enemy. It's one of the few forces in life that demands your attention. It stops you. It humbles you. It says, look at your life. Look. Pain has a way of making things clear. When you're shattered by betrayal, when you're crushed by loss, when anxiety wraps around your chest like a vice, you're forced to ask questions you've been avoiding for years. Who am I? What do I value? What have I been running from? These aren't easy questions. They don't have quick answers. But this is where transformation begins, not in comfort, not in certainty, but in the night of the soul. Carl Jung once said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." And he was right. Because the real work of becoming whole starts when the ego begins to crack. When the identity you've spent years building based on status, approval, image starts to fall apart. That's when something more authentic can emerge. That's when the self begins to wake up. And the process? It's not linear, it's messy. You'll rage, you'll cry, you'll bargain with the past. But if you stay with the pain, if you allow it to teach you, you'll come out on the other side not as the same person, but as someone reborn. Not fixed, but transformed. Think back to a moment in your life when you felt broken. Not just hurt, but truly, deeply broken. What did it teach you? Maybe it showed you who your real friends were. Maybe it forced you to leave a job, a relationship, a place that no longer aligned with who you were becoming. Maybe it made you question everything, and in that questioning, you found clarity. The truth is, emotional pain is a mirror. It reflects all the parts of ourselves we've neglected, our fears, our unresolved wounds, our unmet needs. And when we finally stop running and look into that mirror, we can begin to integrate those parts. We begin to heal, not by pushing pain away, but by listening to it. This is the difference between those who grow from pain and those who stay stuck in it. One runs from discomfort, the other leans in. One numbs, the other reflects. One stays in victimhood, the other steps into responsibility. Responsibility, not in the sense of blame, but in the sense of responsibility. The ability to respond to life consciously. That's what emotional pain gives us, a choice. We can choose to be defined by it, or we can choose to be refined by it. When I went through my emotional collapse, it felt like dying. Not physically, but psychologically. The person I thought I was, the strong, confident, always in control version of myself, crumbled. But in that crumbling, I found something I never expected. A stillness, a depth, a presence that I had never touched before. I started to realize that pain wasn't trying to destroy me. It was trying to strip away everything false. Every mask I wore, every belief I clung to was out of fear, every pattern that kept me small. And what was left? Something raw, something honest, something real. That's the gift of emotional pain. It demands authenticity. You can't fake your way through heartbreak. You can't intellectualize your way out of grief. You can't spiritual bypass your way through anxiety. You have to feel it, sit with it, let it move through you. And in doing so, you begin to understand yourself, not as an idea, not as a role, but as a living, breathing human being. Complex, wounded, beautiful. Too often, we think healing means going back to who we were before the pain. But real healing is becoming someone new because of the pain. It's growth, not reversal. It's alchemy, the transformation of suffering into wisdom, heartbreak into depth, pain into power. Look at any great thinker, artist, or leader throughout history. You'll see a common thread. They all suffered. They all faced emotional devastation. And they all used it as fuel. Nietzsche, Rilke, Maya Angelou, Viktor Frankl, these were not people who avoided suffering. They entered it. They learned from it. They let it shape them. Why? Because pain is honest. It cuts through the noise. It reveals what truly matters. In a world obsessed with positivity, we forget the sacredness of the dark. But without darkness, there's no contrast. Without pain, there's no depth. Without breaking, there's no breakthrough. Sometimes your breakdown is your initiation. Your emotional collapse is not a failure. It's a call. A call to wake up, to evolve, to stop living life on autopilot and start living it with intention. And this isn't just spiritual fluff. Neuroscience supports this. Studies have shown that post-traumatic growth is real. People who face adversity often come out stronger, more resilient, and more compassionate. The brain rewires. The perspective shifts. The values deepen. But it only happens when we engage with the pain consciously, not when we avoid it, not when we bury it, but when we meet it head-on. So if you're in pain right now, if you're grieving, lost, heartbroken, know this: you are not broken. You are breaking open. Something in you is shedding its old skin. Something in you is becoming. Don't rush the process. Don't force yourself to get over it. Go through it. Let it reshape you. Let it humble you. Let it remind you of what matters. And most importantly, let it connect you. Because emotional pain, when shared with honesty, becomes a bridge. A bridge between isolated hearts, a reminder that you're not alone in your suffering. We all carry invisible wounds. We all long to be seen, held, and understood. The paradox is this: the more personal your pain feels, the more universal it truly is. Your heartbreak is not just yours. Your anxiety is not just yours. Your story, as unique as it is, echoes in the hearts of millions. That's where empathy is born. That's where humanity lives. Let emotional pain teach you that you're not separate. That beneath all the armor, all the pretending, all the striving, we're all just trying to find peace. We're all just trying to come home to ourselves. And sometimes, the road home begins with a wound. Sometimes, the doorway to your highest self is hidden inside the very thing you're trying to avoid. Embrace it. We often try to bypass pain with distractions, hoping that if we ignore it long enough, it will disappear. But the truth is, pain doesn't go away when ignored. It burrows deeper, showing up in our relationships, in our health, in our decisions. Every unresolved emotion becomes a silent architect of our future, quietly shaping the life we live. To truly transform through pain, we have to face it directly. This doesn't mean drowning in sorrow or wallowing in despair. It means sitting with our feelings long enough to hear what they're trying to teach us. It means looking in the mirror and daring to ask, what is this pain trying to awaken in me? It's not easy. It's one of the hardest things we can do. But when we stop running, when we stop numbing ourselves and start listening, something remarkable happens. We begin to rebuild, stronger, clearer, more grounded. Not because the pain vanished, but because we let it teach us. Transformation begins the moment we stop seeing pain as the enemy and instead recognize it as a guide. Think of the caterpillar. Before it becomes a butterfly, it disintegrates completely inside the cocoon. Everything it knew about itself dissolved. Its form, its identity, its function, all gone. And in that place of destruction, something new begins to form. That's what emotional pain does to us. It breaks down our illusions, our outdated beliefs, our false identities. It strips us bare so that something more authentic, more aligned, can emerge. But we have to allow it. We have to surrender to the process. And surrender is not weakness. It's the most courageous act of all. There's a sacred kind of wisdom that can only be born in the dark. The kind that can't be taught in books or lectures, but is etched into your soul through lived experience. The nights you cried alone, the moments you felt lost, the days you questioned your worth. Those are the chapters of your becoming. Not the easy wins or polished achievements, but the raw, messy, uncertain moments that no one sees. That's where your true self is forged. There's a quiet power in walking through the fire and coming out the other side, not unscathed, but awakened. Pain humbles us. It reminds us that we are not invincible, that we bleed like everyone else. But it also reveals our strength, because despite everything, we're still here, still breathing, still trying. And that alone is a triumph. Emotional pain also teaches us empathy. The more we've suffered, the more we understand others. We begin to notice the hidden sadness behind someone's smile, the exhaustion in their voice, the quiet battles they fight. Pain opens the heart if we let it. It softens us, makes us more human. That's one of its gifts. And perhaps most importantly, pain forces us to reevaluate. When everything we thought we knew crumbles, we're given a rare opportunity to rebuild our lives on a more truthful foundation. We stop chasing what doesn't matter. We stop pretending. We begin to ask deeper questions. Who am I? What do I truly want? What do I need to let go of? These questions mark the beginning of transformation. They're uncomfortable, yes, but they're necessary. Because without them, we stay asleep. We stay stuck. Pain is the alarm clock of the soul. It wakes us up. And once we're awake, we can't go back to who we used to be. We begin to set boundaries where we once allowed violations. We choose relationships that nourish instead of deplete. We pursue paths that align with our values, not just our ego. We become less concerned with appearances and more devoted to authenticity. And isn't that the whole point? To stop performing and start living, to stop surviving and start creating, to stop clinging and start trusting. Pain invites us to make that leap from fear to freedom, from resistance to surrender, from illusion to truth. But only if we're willing. Only if we're brave enough to stop numbing and start listening. So if you're in the middle of emotional pain right now, I want you to hear this. It's not the end. It's the beginning. It might feel like everything is falling apart, but maybe, just maybe, things are falling into place. You are not broken. You are breaking open. And on the other side of that opening is a version of you that is wiser, stronger, and more whole than you've ever been. Don't rush this process. Don't judge it. Let it unfold. Allow the pain to teach you. Let it carve out the parts of you that no longer serve your evolution. Because the truth is, we don't grow in comfort. We grow in discomfort. We grow when life forces us to face ourselves. And when we finally emerge, we're not who we used to be. We're who we were meant to become. So here's my question to you. What has your emotional pain been trying to teach you? Share it in the comments. I read everyone. And if this message resonated with you, if it stirred something deep within you, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Remember this, your pain is not a punishment. It's a passage, a doorway, a divine invitation to come home to yourself. Don't be afraid to walk through it, because on the other side is your transformation.